Okay, so how's your week been since we last met, Jane?
Well, everything's still kind of the same. So my boyfriend and I are still fighting all the time.
Okay. So what kind of things does he do to kind of trigger your anger response? Like what kind of makes you angry?
Well, it's like everything he does. He doesn't do anything right. Like he's sitting on the couch, the dishes aren't done. When I get home, like nothing's cleaned, the dinner's not being cooked, and every time like I see this every night when I come home, and it just makes me so angry. So when I get home, I just start screaming, and we fight every night.
Okay, so this seems, like you said, seems to be pretty much every night, an every night thing.
Yeah, and I can't take it. I just lose my control.
Okay. So if you can think back to a time, is there maybe any positives that he contributes to the relationship in general, or?
Well, like on a rare occasion, he'll take me on dates, and things are really nice then.
Right. Okay. Good. So while they may be limited, there are some positive contributions that he provides to the relationship. Can you think back to a time when he maybe helped you run the house, helped cleaning or cooking?
Well, last year I had a death in the family, and I was at work when I heard the news, and he knew too. And when I came home, things were actually like clean, and he cooked dinner, and like that was a really nice surprise. But like it was only that one time.
Okay, so while infrequent, there were prior instances of him kind of helping you around the house, making things easier for you.
Rarely.
Okay. So when you come home from work after a long day, you see the dishes aren't done, you see dinner's not started or anything like that. Okay. What is your mood in that moment?
I just get so frustrated. Like, just my frustration is out of control.
Okay. And after, you start yelling and, have this argument, what's your mood once the yelling is over?
Well, I'm still like irritable, like because I'm just so mad at how he didn't do anything like that I needed to be done.
Right. Okay. So, would you say that it is productive to the situation?
It's not productive at all because it's just nothing gets done no matter how I react.
Right. Okay. So let me just see if I'm getting this right. So, you and your boyfriend both work. He gets home earlier than you. Okay. So you come in, kind of see him sitting on the couch, not really doing much, hasn't started dinner, hasn't cleaned the dishes. And then you come in, you see this, and your immediate response is to get angry, and you start yelling, and then a fight kind of starts.
Yeah, I come home 2 hours later than him, and he could have at least done one thing, and he just doesn't.
Right. Okay. So let's talk about work. Have you ever noticed similar situations happening at work where you kind of get angry and may lose your temper?
Yeah, of course I get irritated at some of my coworkers, but I kind of keep that anger to myself because I can't act out the same way I do at home.
Okay, so would you say it's more of an internal frustration and agitation?
Yeah.
Okay. So in these instances at work, would you say that you're just as angry with your coworkers as you get with your boyfriend at home?
Maybe a different kind of anger, but I'm still pissed off at them for whatever reason.
Okay, so it sounds like you're able to control your outward anger pretty well at work. Do you think that it's because that you're kind of aware of the consequence of you getting fired if you were to?
Yeah, if I yell at my job, obviously I'm gonna get in trouble for that, and I can't do that there, but with my boyfriend at home, it's my home. I can do that. So yeah, there's not that consequence.
Okay. So would you say that your coworkers know that you're angry, or do you think that you're kind of able to hide it pretty well?
I'm not really sure. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Okay, so let's look at the thought process that's kind of involved with work versus at home. Okay, so at home, from what you're telling me, it sounds like you enter the apartment, and then automatically you're triggered by your boyfriend just sitting there not really, completing any tasks that are helping you around the house.
Mm-hmm.
And then your immediate response is kind of to get angry. Okay. So at work, it's kind of a similar situation, but you trigger your coworker is frustrating you, but you're kind of able to think in the back of your mind, oh, I can't yell or else I'll get fired type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So you're able to kind of control your outward expression of anger, but remain kind of internally
Yeah,
frustrated.
At work, like sometimes, like if I'm annoyed with something, I'll just like I'll be able to walk away at certain times.
Okay. So, do you remember last week we kind of touched upon briefly cognitive distortions?
Yeah, you said we were gonna
Yeah.
learn about them.
Right. Okay. So I have this worksheet right here. So this cognitive distortion worksheet. So they're kind of irrational thoughts that kind of influences our behavior and our reactions to specific triggers. So there's a list of different types. The first one is all or nothing thinking. So you kind of see things in black and white. It's either all good or all bad. So it's kind of the extremes. The next one is overgeneralization. You see a single negative event as like a never-ending pattern of defeat. So you use the words always, never, or ever. Okay. The next one is ignoring the evidence. So you kind of dwell on all the negative things while ignoring the positive things. There may have been 10 positive things and one negative, and you still kind of focus on the negative instead of all of the positives.
Well, yeah, because I think negatives are so much easier to focus on. Just I don't know why.
Right, and then that kind of takes over our whole mind, and that's all we, kind of think about.
Mm-hmm.
So the next distortion is jumping to conclusions. It says you make a negative interpretation even though there are no definite facts that support your conclusion. So it's kind of like you're jumping to this one thought without having any evidence to back it up. Okay. The next one is called magnification, also known as catastrophizing. So you blow the negatives out of proportion. Or you shrink their importance entirely. If it's kind of a positive thing, you kind of shrink that importance altogether. And then the last one is personalization. So you kind of see yourself as the cause of some negative external event, which you may not be responsible for directly. Okay. So if you were to kind of take a look at these distortions, which one would you think applies to your situation kind of the most?
I mean, I can kind of see how the first one has to do with me, all or nothing, because like I said before, like I say my boyfriend never does anything right, and then you got me to mention when he did do something right, like when he cleaned the house and made dinner when I had to deal with the death in the family. And so, and if that's the case, then you made me think about the one good thing. And so I can't always be saying that he never, like using words like never, I guess. Even though it feels like that.
Right, so that thought he never does anything right, that's kind of the extremes that we were talking about with all or nothing thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like you ignore those couple positive things that we talked about and kind of just focus on, he didn't do the dishes or being clean.
The negative is so much more of a common occurrence. That's why it's hard.
Right. And I mean, it can be frustrating. There will be times, that you may lose your temper or you may start yelling. But so if we look at that sentence, he never does anything right, we can now kind of challenge that by saying, there's sometimes he does some things right.
Yeah, I mean, if you take it in a literal sense.
Okay. So if we were to think about the situation when you come home and you kind of see him not doing anything, what's kind of maybe one different thought that we can kind of insert before the behavior of yelling?
Well, I have to realize that yelling is not getting us anywhere. Like, it's not making things better for me.
Right.
So realizing that.
Right. So would you say that by kind of yelling, you're kind of hoping to change the behavior so that way you can yell one time and maybe his behavior will change and then the next time you won't have to yell?
I guess that's the idea, but now that I think about it, clearly it's not working.
Right. So if we were to kind of think about a more productive response that we could use, maybe we could use the one you use at work by just walking away. Do you think that that's something that you could apply at home?
I think that's something, I mean, in idea, yeah, that's something I could do, but I guess it'll be hard to apply it because it's a different situation. The anger that I have with my boyfriend versus the anger with, like, an annoying coworker. So, but in theory, it could work. It depends on whether I actually can do it.
Right. Okay. So if you were to put yourself right now in that mindset of coming home, walking through the door, how do you think that you can best apply the situation, the solution of walking away?
I mean, I gotta train myself to do that. And, if I had that time where I wasn't yelling, I could think about, I could process what's going on and how to actually get what I want with the result of him actually helping out.
Right. So is there like maybe another room that you could go to?
I can go anywhere. He's not.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, so taking that, what would you say, 5, maybe 10 minutes to kind of process things, so that way you can kind of formulate a more productive response.
Yeah, because clearly just what I'm doing is not working, so I need to be doing something that helps me out.
Right. So and then by employing these different solutions, that can maybe improve the relationship to where you are able to sit down, have a conversation, and kind of talk through things instead of just becoming angry and starting to fight.
That makes sense.
Okay, good. So for next week, I want you to just think about maybe 5 or 6 different solutions that you could do to kind of instead of yelling. So some different thoughts that you can insert before the behavior of yelling kind of takes over the situation, and then your mind is kind of just clouded and foggy.
I mean, it's like what I do immediately because it's become a pattern. I just yell right away because I'm expecting it, and maybe I could think of alternatives before I even get home because I know when I get home I'm just going to start yelling.
Right, and I mean, we can work on these sessions. Every week that you come in, we can kind of look at what's going on and the different solutions that you've come up with.
Okay.
And then ultimately where you are able to just come home and see your boyfriend and then, insert a more positive thought.
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay, so I'll see you next week, okay?
Okay.